I can't tell you.
Thank you so much for coming out here with me, Christopher. I'm having a wonderful time. You mean a lot to me. And I'm glad that you're having a blast. I am so out of breath.
Hi. It's me. You guys just call me back when you have a chance. Hi. Hi. It's me. I miss your face. I was just calling to say hi. Call me back. Bye.
I was like, do you have 401k? And he was like, yeah. I was like, do you have 401k? And he was like, yeah. I was like, do you have 401k? And he was like, yeah. And I mean, the reason I ask him this is because if I get into a relationship with somebody, I want to know like what kind of baggage that they have. I think that's important. If I walk into a situation where I'm like, hey, I have good credit and I have all these things and I have all these things and I have all these things, and I have all these things that I can't tell you like the exact words of the exact conversation at the exact time and place, because it's like we had a lot of conversations. I mean, we talked every single day. So it's like I'm trying to help you guys with the stuff like the stuff that's more current. I can give you guys a lot more like detail and exact times. When you're asking me about something that happened 6 weeks ago and exactly what was said, it's like, I mean, I'm sure I can give you a general idea, but to be honest with you, like to pinpoint exact words, it's not gonna happen.
June 27th, 2018. Chris Watts brings condoms to my house. One box is full and unopened. The second is a set of condoms from a partially used box. I asked CW why he has a set of partially used condoms. CW informs me that the condoms he has are from back when he was still having sex with his wife. CW told me they had been sitting in the closet collecting dust, and that SW, Shanann Watts, probably did not even know that they were there. I asked Chris Watts why him and SW used to use condoms. CW informed me that SW didn't like to get messy. I was curious, so I looked up the expiration date on the condoms and noted that the unopened set expired in late 2022, and the open set expired in early 2023. I looked up the lifespan of an unopened condom and discovered it's approximately 5 years. Based on my research, I assume these condoms were manufactured in late 2017 and early 2018.
I thought it was kind of cute. I was like, oh, he's a dad. I was like, do you have 401k? And he was like, yeah. I mean, when he was with me, I considered it to be fairly healthy. It was open communication. And it was what I thought was honest. And it was very calm. It was respectful. We got along really well. He gave me my space when I needed it. I gave him his. And anytime like he wanted to take care of it, like anytime that his kids could be in like his life for hours or days or whatever, whenever they were home, I made sure that I wasn't. anytime that his kids could be in like his life for hours or days or whatever, whenever they were home, I made sure that I was.
This is what we know about the timeline in the beginning of their relationship. Watts receives his first email from Kessinger on June 12th. It says, "Chris, thank you for being honest with me this morning. Truthfulness is so underrated in our culture. Saludos cordiales, Nikki." On June 14th, 2018, Chris Watts enters his coworker, Nicole Kessinger's, contact information into his work phone for the first time. On June 22nd, Shanann and Chris leave for San Diego to go on their Thrive trip, and they return on the 26th. On June 27th, 2018, Shanann, Bella, Cece, and Shanann's father, Frank, fly to North Carolina. They'll stay there for 5 weeks. Could it be on that same evening, June 27th, 2018, according to Nicole Kessinger's 7-page letter to law enforcement, Chris Watts arrives at her apartment with 2 boxes of condoms. 1 box is full and unopened. A second set of condoms is partially used. The whole world knows about that.
He was very calm. He was respectful. We got along really well. He gave me my space when I needed it. I gave him his.
She had her moments where I had to talk her like off the ledge kind of deal. What's that mean? Like, I guess after the fact, there was like videos of her that she was like recording herself because she was like bipolar or something. I don't know that. But there, it's like she would get worked up about nothing. She would just like, she came to my house once because I think it was like July 4th. I didn't have to work that day. So I didn't like get up at like, 4 o'clock and go home. And Shanann called me like 10 times in a row. And I didn't hear it because I was sleeping. I was just like, and she was pissed. Shanann was pissed. And like I called her on outside, like, where are you at? Like, I was like, I didn't have to work today. It's like, he called me at like, 5:30. It's like, well, kids want to talk to you at 7:30. I'm like I was sleeping. She just like, 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 I don't know where you're at. And I went back inside. I told me, I gotta go. And she was just like, okay, then you come back? I'm like, probably not.
So wait a minute, you kind of lost me there. Were you at Nikki's place when
Yeah.
Shanann called you?
Yeah.
Okay, and so you were sleeping in her bed.
Yeah, because I wasn't going to work that day because I didn't have to that day.
Okay.
The first holiday I ran off. And, Shanann was pissed. And, kind of pissed Nikki off too that I left. But I think that's what she did. I called Nikki later and she was like, she kind of realized that, she'd always be like, the second, she said second bill. That's right. And because that's how I would come back that day. Because, I don't want to be anywhere else when Shanann calls. She was already pissed. So it was stuff like that where she would go, she said she would go on like websites and look at like will a relationship work with somebody, like will a mistress work, will a mistress turn into a relationship.
That's what Nikki was looking at?
Yeah.
She would tell you that or you
She
heard
told
that?
me that.
Okay.
Yeah, she said that she would go on websites and look at stuff like that.
Okay, guys, so how is everyone doing tonight? Hi, Wendy McKean, how are you? Hi, Kayla. Hi, Aussie girl Jen, nice to see you. Hi, Lily. Oh, honey, how are you feeling? I was going to just send you an email after this. I'm so glad to see you here. I hope this means you're feeling a little better. Hi, Nancy N, so glad you're here. Hi, D Fisher, how are you? Yes, NK constantly contradicts herself over and over and over again, just like you said so well. Hi, Kristen Butler, and thank you. I actually want to do a little more on that video. I was planning on making a longer version of it. It's in the works. Hi, Utter Nutter. Hope you got your coffee. Hello, Red Sky Black. Yeah, I know. That's an interesting one. I've never heard of that either. And the fact that she admitted that to him, I think, is very strange as well. Let's see, who else? Let me just scroll up a little more. Hi, Domestic Dolores. Nice to see you. Hi, Colby Blanchard. So glad you're here. And Yarn and Mittens. Hello. How are you? Oh, I'm sorry about that. Sick child can't type, but you're listening. Oh, good. I'm so glad you're here. Awesome. And let me just make sure I didn't miss anyone else. Okay, very good. So I hope everyone's doing very well tonight. So I just wanted to clarify something from the last live stream. Some people have asked some questions about this, so I'm just going to share something with you here. Let's see. Oh. Okay, I'm going to have to do it this way. Just let me open this up. And this has to do with the 111-minute phone call and the timeline. And I know that this issue has been discussed a great deal, across, many channels for many creators. But, guys, I think it's absolutely critical because of the timeline and the lack of this phone call appearing on the official timeline. So just let me show you this. Oops. Sorry, I enhanced it too quick. Hi, Amy. How are you doing? Hi, Salon Savvy. Glad you could make it. Okay, so here we go. And okay, so I'm just going to point this out to you. I know some of you have already seen this. So, as I looked through all of Kessinger's phone bills, her phone bill from the dates of July 14th through August 13th, what I did was I looked at the longest call on each of these, pages of her phone bill. So I just want to note that the 111-minute phone call was really out of character for their conversations. This wasn't their normal pattern of talking to each other. So I went through and I looked at the longest phone call that NK held on each of these pages and the longest phone call that she had with Watts on each of these pages. And we find that, other than the 111-minute phone call, guys, the next three longest calls lasted 51 minutes, 52 minutes, and 54 minutes, respectively. So you see, that's a really long phone call. We could probably say, because there's only a short period of time that we don't have their phone records, according to when they say their relationship was occurring, it's probably safe to say that was the longest phone call that they ever had. So even when you look at this is all ping information, this little, unofficial timeline here, we see that their 111-minute phone call pointed to by this big red arrow starts at 9:28 that Sunday evening, August 12th, and it ends at 11:19. There's no activity on NK's phone until the 6:16 a.m. ping the morning of August 13th, we see right here, when she had a 1-minute phone call to her friend Jim, is highlighted in yellow. The next activity, guys, on her phone was not until 2:28 p.m. And that call was initiated in Platteville. That's where she works. And again, this is a very unusual pattern for NK to not have any activity on her phone throughout the whole day. So now I also told you guys that the 111-minute phone call was conspicuously missing from the official discovery timeline. So just let me show you what I mean here. Here we go. Okay. So here you see this is the official redacted discovery. So you see right here in the middle of the page begins August 13th. Well, if you just go up a little bit, you're going into August 12th. Now, I'm not going to show you all of August 12th, guys, because there's a lot of information on this official timeline for August 12th. Actually, you know what? I am going to show it to you because I want you to see how they included like everything that happened on August 12th. Everything that Chris Watts did on August 12th is in this discovery. Look at this is a lot of information as compared to the other dates in the official timeline in the discovery. It's like 5 or 6 pages long, okay? So look, August 12th starts right here. We have everything that Watts did starting at 7:32 a.m. that morning, okay? So now if we go back down or up or down, I'm scrolling down, but we're going up in time, right? We get to the evening. So at 21:13, so that would be at 9:13. We see that Shanann sent a message to Addie explaining things. At 21:29, which is 9:29, we have Shanann made an unanswered call to Watts. Well, the reason that likely is, my friends, is because a minute before that, at 9:28, or in military time, 21:28, that's when that 111-minute phone call began. There is no mention of that phone call here in the official discovery. I just find that to be a conspicuously missing piece of information. So I don't know if anyone has any comments or questions about that. I'd be interested to know what you think about that. I mean, every piece of information that man did that day, other than this phone call, is here on Discovery. So let's see. What are you saying here, Lily? I'm so happy you're here. Oh, yes, yes. Manipulating the cots and, oh, maybe. Yeah, I mean, there was definitely a lot of manipulation. I don't know what you guys think. Lily mentioned Trent Bolt there. I don't know what you guys think about the Trent Bolt story, but I looked into it, a long time ago, and I never really gave it too much validity because in the process of looking into it, I didn't really find anything that was too substantial there. So, Now, I also want to address something else that wasn't in the description for this live stream, or it wasn't in the thumbnail or anything, and that is, I don't think she's here, and I'm not sure if she'd like me to say her name or not. Are you here, Cecile? One of the moderators for this channel, Cecile, heard about a recent, I guess I'm going to call it a rumor that was circulating. In fact, guys, during my last live stream, some people that were in the chat were saying definitively with absolute certainty that, well, the reason that Kessinger perhaps had a deal with law enforcement was because her father was a diplomat. Well, Cecile did some research into this issue, and she found this information that lists all of the diplomats affiliated with the United States in this document that I'm going to show you right here. I have a bunch of documents pulled out. Okay, there we go. It's a PDF, okay? So upon examining this document that lists all of the diplomats that had been working for the United States the United States Department of State Office of Foreign Missions, diplomatic and consular immunity, it lists all of the diplomats associated with the United States or working for the United States over the past 4 years. So as you go through this document, and it's 52 pages long, I just want to show it to you. I want you to see that it exists. You will see listed. Oops, I think I pulled up the wrong PDF. Oh my goodness. Oh yes, okay. You'll see listed here, I think. Nope, these are examples. I did pull up the wrong PDF. Let's see. Hold it just one second. I can pull it up really quick for you, okay? So you're going to see listed all of the diplomats that served for the United States during or from 2018, working 4 years back. So I just, was really impressed there. Here we go. That, oops. Hold it. Okay. I'm a bad multitasker. Just let me pull this down and put the right document up, okay? Let's see. Oh, okay. I think I'm going to do it like this. Yeah, okay. That's going to work. All right, that's going to work. Okay, very good. All right, let me just make sure you guys are seeing the right document here, and you are. Let me get myself out of this picture because you don't really need to see me. This is the important thing. All right, so we have listed within this document all of the diplomats. Now, this document, I'm sorry, guys, was dated 2020. So this, I believe, is even more comprehensive. So you're looking at the year 2020 and then going 4 years back. We have all of the different countries. Clearly, if Mr. Kessinger were a diplomat at that time, he had been residing in Colorado. He would have been listed under the United States. So let's just get down to there. We're getting close. We're getting close. We're getting close, right? United Air. Okay, here we go. United Kingdom. And then here we have starting. Whoops. I went past it. The US. How do I keep going past it? So, well, you know what? If anybody would like to take a look at this document, it's just too long for us to, go through every single piece of, or every single person in here. Please let me know, and we would be happy to send you along this document so you can take a look at it for yourself. So, that just eliminates the idea that Dwayne Kessinger, Nicole Kessinger's father, may have been a diplomat for the United States, and therefore she was enjoying some kind of diplomatic immunity by proxy, right? Hi, Pride Rossi. So glad you could make it too. Let's see. Let's see. So what did you say here, Lily? I saw something more about Trent Bolt. You said, Kelly, Danielle Hayden was friends with Trent Bolt. Oh yeah, cousin on Facebook. And his ex-boyfriend, Damien, knew her. All very suspicious to me anyway. Yeah, I was aware of those connections, and I can't say that I discovered those connections. I looked into those connections because other people, I believe, discovered those connections. And I could not find anything further than that. So, when I was looking up that particular issue, I was also trying to do some research into, how many degrees of separation really are there between an individual and basically anyone else on Facebook. And, I didn't find anything conclusive, or, I didn't work the numbers or anything like that. But the statistics will tell you that there's a pretty good chance by 4 degrees of separation, you're going to be connected to somebody that you actually know on Facebook. Does that make sense? So, I mean, maybe there is something there. But I couldn't be, I personally wouldn't be sure about that. I guess it is something that could possibly warrant some more investigation because, hey, why not? Let's see. What did Red Sky Black say? Trent and Amanda both said CW's truck was dark blue. How could they both make that same mistake? McMahon knew NA. What are the chances? I mean, that's a really good point. So you guys are pointing out some really relevant connections here. And I don't think that these things by any means should be disregarded. I guess, my point is I personally, after looking pretty deeply into this, and I think watching everything like exhaustively on YouTube that does talk about Trent Bull, I couldn't find anything further than that. That certainly doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So would anyone like to come up on the panel and talk or share your theories or ideas or just react to what we are presenting here? Hi, Jamie. How are you? Nice to see you. Oh, I'm sorry you're not feeling good. There's a lot of people under the weather right now. I hope that everybody gets to feeling better. Seriously. Okay. So another thing I wanted to discuss was the idea, well, not the idea, the fact that Nicole Kessinger had started that limited liability corporation, the LLC, that was doing business as Satya Consulting. Okay, so let's see, this was just me looking a little deeper into it. Well, here we go. Okay, so Satya Consulting, which was a limited liability corporation that Nicole Kessinger started, here the official records tell us that it was incorporated on March 8th, 2018. It was then dissolved just about a year later on March 28th, 2019. So we all know that right in the middle of that time period was when this horrific tragedy happened when pregnant Shanann and unborn baby Nico, Bella, and Celeste Watts' lives were all taken in an egregious manner. So I heard some other people recently talking about, okay, so Satya Consulting. Let's start from the basics. What does Satya mean? So I've shared this before on live streams because, as many of you know, or those that follow my channel, I've been teaching yoga for a little over 20 years now. And Satya in yoga is actually a pretty sacred principle. It is honesty, but honesty and truthfulness, like in the highest form. Let me find something for you here. So, and now we all know that Nicole Kessinger was a practitioner of yoga. She talked about it. It sounds like, got Chris Watts into yoga. I don't know if you guys will remember that when Chris Watts is talking to Tammy Lee, Dave Baumhover, and Graham Coder, when they go to interview him in the Dodge prison, he says that she was when she called him she was texting him on Monday, and she was asking him all these kind of safety security questions. And one of them was, what yoga studio do you go to? Well, we never heard of Chris talking about going to yoga before. And we all know that, Shanann wasn't a big exercise person. She wasn't really into working out. So we know, based on Nicole Kessinger asking Watts that question, that obviously, yes, of course, he was going to a yoga studio, or else why would that question have been asked? So I think it's a reasonable assumption to make that she probably got him into it. So next screen. Nope, I actually clicked into it. Yep, here we go. Okay, so we have what are called the 8 limbs of yoga. And the first of the 8 limbs of yoga, you'll see up in the kind of upper left-hand corner, we have the yamas. And these are the social ethics, okay? So there's ahimsa, which is kindness or compassion. Satya, which is truthfulness. Asteya, which means not stealing or taking what is not yours. brahmacharya, which means moderation, and this refers to sexual moderation primarily. And I always have a hard time pronouncing this last one, which means generosity or giving with an open heart. So recently I had heard on a couple different channels that some folks were saying that, Satya Consulting was affiliated with this larger franchise limited liability corporation, Satya Consulting. So I looked a little bit into that, and I don't believe that to be true because the service that they provide is, you can find this on LinkedIn and other places. This is just what I pulled up most recently here. It's an IT and business process consulting service. So we know that this is not anything that Nicole Kessinger was involved in. She studied geology. She was into the study of the earth and the earth sciences, and this wasn't her thing. So I think that, it's also pretty safe to say that Satya Consulting had something to do with her practice of yoga. So during the last live stream, we also talked about the fact that in general, the practice of yoga is really moving towards, I know. We started out discussing that picture of Nicole Kessinger when she is in Peru. A moment here. I'm just grabbing this for you. Oops. Here we go. Oh, here, let me just give me 1 second here. Please let me know if you have any questions. Go ahead and type them up in chat, and I will try to get to them for sure. All righty, let me open up this file. Oh. That came up as a PDF. Let me just see if this works for us. Nope, it doesn't. You guys probably all know what picture here. I'm just going to show you this webpage. All right, here. This is fun. This is good enough. So we have this picture of her over to the right-hand side where she's in Peru. And above her head, she is holding this stone. Now, remember, Chris Watts also talked about Nicole Kessinger when they went camping at the sand dunes. She left the tent and she was like going and dancing around the fire. And she had some kind of a sacred stone. And she was contacting her grandmother, who she believed to be her spirit guide. All right. So if you zoom in really closely to this stone, what you're going to see is a double cross, and some other people say there's a staircase. I don't really see that, but there's an image of a serpent. So in yoga, particularly in Kundalini yoga or in Tantric yoga, there's a serpent there. It is believed in the energy body. So we're talking like the 8 chakras you may be familiar with. There's a serpent that's coiled at the base of the spine 3.5 times, and that represents a person's potential energy, or basically their possibility of being in life. Okay. So the serpent energy in yoga is, a very sacred energy, as, opposed to being an evil energy. But I forget where I was going with this, actually, guys. So that's that. I know. Okay. So the last time we were discussing this issue in a live stream, I was discussing with you guys the fact that a lot of the yoga practices, the breathing practices, the tantric practices, some of the things that Nicole Kessinger talked about or indicated occasionally are done for the purpose of awakening that subtle energy at the base of the spine so you can realize your full potential. But it is true that, yes, there is a darker side to any of these practices. Some people are asking about this again during our live stream and in successive emails. And I certainly do not eliminate the possibility that those were, Nicole's intentions. I personally do believe, I haven't said this much on this channel. I don't know why I really shy away from expressing my personal beliefs about this, but I do believe that at the very least, Nicole Kessinger was involved in the commission of this horrendous crime through psychological manipulation of our one Chris Watts. It seems to me that I just read under now. I'm going to get my coffee. It seems to me that, in my mind, they're really based on all of the things we know about Nicole Kessinger, all of the recordings of what she has said through the course of her interviews, all of the information that we find in Discovery. I find it hard to really see it any other way. So we're going to listen to a segment of the interview with Nicole Kessinger, the one for which the video version was recently released. And then we're going to go back and listen to a segment of Chris Watts' interview, or at this point, perhaps it's an interrogation, because it'll be just after his father, Ronnie Watts, left the interrogation or interview room in the police station in Frederick, Colorado, and he's being questioned by Tammy Lee and Graham Coder. So there are some things that Nicole Kessinger says in that interview, the one from August 16th, the one for which the video was just released, and what Chris Watts says to Tammy Lee and Graham Coder in one of his initial interviews in the police station. One of the subscribers of the channel commented on a documentary that I put out way back this summer. I put out a 2-part documentary on the Watts tragedy and this case. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I think it was one of my better works. A subscriber just the other day commented on that documentary and clued me in to something that I had included in there in the context of that interview footage that I had never even picked up on. So let's go ahead and listen together, okay? So we're going to pick up on the Nicole Kessinger interview, the one from August 16th, roughly where we left off in the last live stream, if you were here for that or if you had a chance to watch it. All right. Just got to find it. Okay, there it is.
The text messages and the phone log, and unfortunately, again, the attachments on some of those text messages, and I'll write it on there, and then you'll just sign it. Okay? Do you understand the questions there? Do you have questions about any of the things that it says? You understand you don't have to do this. You're doing it of your own free will. And I know you're tired, so if you want to let your dad read it too,
Thank you.
that's a good idea.
Can you fill it out before I sign it?
Yep. And just you read it, and if you have any questions, then we'll put on there what we're after.
I'm so hungry.
You should have told me. I would have got you some food. I got food in my car.
It's not staying down. It's just coming
She hadn't been
down.
feeling good, not because of any, just
Like I got sick prior to this
Jim.
whole thing happening, and then I think all of this compounding with the
Stress.
fact that I'm sick, it's just not good. I've not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
yeah. I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more it takes, the less sure that they are of situations. But on the other end, I think if you do just that only,
You tell me what you're willing to provide to me and we'll
is
write
that
it
good
in.
enough?
I just want like our text conversation and then I guess our phone call records.
So I'm going to put,
So the time and date of the phone call records and then our text message.
could we get photos of him?
Huh?
Could we get photos of him?
Off of
Would you
that.
mind if we got his photos that he sent to you?
Oh, well, there'll be in that text message thing.
So all his photos were sent, there was no apps or anything else used
No,
that you
no,
guys
no,
were
no,
sending?
no,
It was
no.
all just text messages?
Yeah,
Okay. So it'd be an attachment to a text that he sent you?
pretty much.
But,
But everything is in the text and the phone call records,
so
like all of it.
because we don't have it on tape, we discussed prior to turning the tape on Tuesday, which would have been the 14th of August, you had read some newspaper articles on the 13th and the 14th that regarded this case. You had also had a conversation with Chris at some point during the day on Monday. And on Tuesday, because of what you found, specifically what you said was, and I don't let me put words in your mouth, but you found out that his wife was pregnant.
And yes.
And you did not know that prior. And you found that out via the newspaper articles, and that caused you concern.
Well, I just realized that he was lying to me, and I was like, well, if you can lie to me about this, what else are you lying to me about? And it made me realize that maybe his wife was in danger at that point, and it was day two, and she still wasn't home.
I find some irony there. At Mom says it's a really good point. What about the calculator app? So right here, she lied like at least 3 times. Okay. So she's saying that she did not know that, you know, that they were, she thought that they were headed towards divorce. She didn't find out that Shanann was pregnant until August 14th, which we all know is absolutely absurd. There's plenty of information out there about that. I'd be happy to go over any of that with you. And she just said that they didn't use any third-party apps. And we know that they use a calculator app. So there's another lie right there. So I find it interesting that she says, well, I know he was lying about that. So what else is he lying about? Because, girl, that's what we all be thinking of you.
What did that cause you to do with your phone, though?
Oh, what? When I deleted those? I was just kind of grossed out by him, to be honest with you. I was just like, I don't know what's going on right now, but you just lied to me, and I don't want to see this come over my phone anymore. So I removed it.
So you already said, but you removed text messages?
I deleted all of his stuff because he lied to me. I mean, that's what it was. It was the hurt that made me delete it, and then it was the lie that made me start questioning everything else he'd been telling me for the last few days.
And that's when you decided to come forward?
Yes.
Okay. So just for context,
Yes.
when people delete stuff off phones, usually we go,
No. It wasn't
that's why I wanted
malicious
to-
at all. It
Yeah, no, I'm
wasn't
not saying it's
malicious at
malicious.
all. He lied to me. It just hurt. Like, I had never felt like he'd ever lied to me before. And it was a big lie. I mean,
Right.
telling somebody that you're in the midst of a divorce and then you have a wife that has a 15-week-old baby on the way is a huge, huge thing. And I was very taken back, and it was hurt. And so at that point, I deleted it. I had a few more quick things to say to him, and then I just got rid of him. That's literally what I did. I just cut him out of my life.
Okay, so I just want to say a couple things. So, Priya, Jacob, I don't know if you were here in the beginning of the live stream. That's what I was trying to say, but you clarified it really nicely here. So Priya says, and Priya, does that have to do with like Priya Yoga? I don't know. I'm interested in knowing that. Also about CW telling Tammy that NK asking him questions to check whether it was CW replying to her. She was asking the name of her yoga studio and her dog's name. Tammy misunderstood. Okay. I'd like to, yeah, I don't know if I can't pull it up right now and I want to try to find it, but the way I took it was based on what Chris Watts said, that she was asking him the name of the yoga studio he went to, but that's possible. I will definitely have to listen to that again. So just, I mean, parsing through even what we've heard here. So yeah, the big question I have about this, and then guys, I am going to be getting to the point where they're talking about evil when they're questioning or interrogating Chris Watts. I'm going to get to that afterwards. And then he says some interesting things about what Nicole Kessinger knew right after that. This is kind of a forgotten part of this interview, in my opinion. At least it was for me. But just parsing, this portion of this interview, a couple of you asked, like, what the heck is her dad talking about? Let's see.
Again, the attachments on some of those text messages, and I'll write it on there, and then you'll just sign it. Okay? Do you understand the questions there? Do you have questions about any of the things that it says? You understand you don't have to do this. You're doing it of your own free will. And I know you're tired, so if you want to let your dad read it too,
Thank you.
that's a good idea.
She's so rude to him.
Yep. And just you read it. And if you have any questions, then we'll put on there what we're after.
I'm so hungry.
You should have told me. I would have got you some food. I got food in my car.
It's not staying down. It's just coming
She hadn't been
down.
feeling good, not because of any, just
Like I got sick prior to this
Jim.
whole thing happening, and then I think all of this compounded with the
Stress.
fact that I'm sick. It's just not good. I've not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
We don't care. No one cares. People have been murdered. Hi, Leslie.
Yeah,
Leslie.
I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case because the more it takes, the less sure that they are of situations.
Okay, so what right or authority or privilege does he have to be telling a CBI agent that they need to be accelerating the case? And what situations exactly is this man talking about?
But on the other end, I think if you do just that only,
You tell me what you're willing to provide to me, and we'll
is
write
that
it
good
on.
enough?
I just want like our text conversation, and then I guess our phone call records.
So I'm gonna put.
So the time and date of the phone call records, and then our text message.
Could we get photos of him?
Huh?
Could we get photos of him?
Off of
Would you
that.
mind if we got his photos that he sent to you?
Oh, well, they'll be in that text message thing.
So all his photos were sent. There was no apps or anything else you
No,
used that you
no,
guys
no,
were
no,
sending.
no.
Lies. Okay. So then we also heard, of course, that she went on to say that, everything she said about not knowing that Shanann was pregnant and her innocence in this whole case. I also find it very striking just in this segment of this interview, the way, the CBI agents are, constantly so politely asking her, oh, but, may I beseech you to have this information from you? There were 3 people and an unborn child that were murdered here. I mean, in my opinion, an investigator would just be telling her that they're going to take it. And when, way back in August and September, when my friend Alex, who is a defense attorney, was looking at this case a little bit for me and giving me some of his impressions on it, he just absolutely laughed at this portion of the interview. And of course, we only had the audio then, but I think, the gist is certainly the same, that this is not the way that somebody, that close to somebody who just murdered his whole family is going to be treated. Yeah, so red sky, black. Yeah, he says Kobach. Whoops. Kobach asked what they are willing to provide. Willing, is this not a murder case? Exactly. Spot on. We agree with you. We're all shocked. Did I say hello to you, Tracy Wheeler? Yes, they are treating her with kid gloves. Hi, Jennifer Bradford. Welcome. So glad you're here. I think he had the calculator app. NK probably didn't have that app. She's the other woman. Well, at some point, he says that he learned about the calculator app from NK. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess we couldn't know this definitively. I think that you're right on that. But personally, all I can, say is I'm not aware of any apps that I don't personally use, Okay. Oh, good. I did say hello to you. Oh, Lily, I'm so glad that you're here. I hope you're feeling better. How are you feeling, by the way? Yes, all they seem concerned is putting CW away no matter what. And I would certainly hope that they would be confident in the fact that they could collect enough evidence that they would be able to do that. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like District Attorney Rourke is a kind of a district attorney that has that sort of confidence. That's why he accepted Chris Watts' plea deal so early on in the game before the investigation was even done. And we know from Tammy Lee's statements on criminal confessions that she was unhappy with that. My God, even talking about it brought the woman to tears. Yeah, and a 15-week-old baby on the way. Who says that? Yeah. Leslie says, Daddy's so tired of getting her out of trouble. Here we go again. Naughty daughter. Why can't you be like your sister? Yeah, you know what? You're probably right. So, all right. So let's move on to the portion that I was talking about of Chris Watts' interview / interrogation. Now, this part of the questioning that we are going to be listening to is right after Ronnie Watts left the interview / interrogation room, and Watts had given them the story that he saw Shanann, taking the lives of their beautiful little girls. And, then he did however he says it a few weird ways that he did. So let's hop over to that. So this again is from the part 1 of a documentary that I put out this summer. If you haven't checked that out, it's one of my favorite things that I've done. It's called The Watts Family Documentary, Colorado Tragedy, Part 1. This is it. Okay. I played around with the audio quite a bit. This is the best I could get it. I hope you're able to hear.
This is the people that I saw when I walked behind Shanann. She was
I got to go back a little bit. Okay. Just a little bit. Okay.
Talking. And again, this is before we kind of got to this moment. Anybody that goes to the location.
Okay, so let's go back just a little more even. So Tammy Lee is asking, just in case you can't hear really well, like, what's up with the oil tanks? Is anybody else going to check them? Okay.
I want to do that to them. I'm not doing that to them. I'm just saying. No, I'm not doing that to them. I do think you were a good dad. I think Shanann was a good mom. I think you guys were doing everything you could possibly do for those girls. I mean, look at them. Yeah. Why didn't you put Shanann in the tanks? I didn't know what else to do. How far down is she? I don't know, like 2 feet maybe. How long did it take you to dig that? No. Give me an idea. 20, 30 minutes.
Okay, so Tammy Lee is talking about, where he left Shanann, and she says, how long did it take you to dig that? He says 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, guys, this is a question that's been asked time and time again when people are looking at the reported timeline and seeing if it's realistic. And I've heard a lot of speculation as to how long it would have taken to, dig that disrespectful grave. I'm sorry to even have to say it. God rest your soul, Shanann Rusek. And he says 20 to 30 minutes. So remember that. We're going to go back and look at the timeline, but there's more.
Does anyone ever go up this ladder and look in things? Mm-hmm. So how are you going to avoid that? Or is it you that does that? Anybody that goes to the location. How often is that done that those tanks are checked?
Depends if they're making enough oil or whatnot, once a week, maybe.
So do you want someone to find them?
I didn't know what else to do. That's the location I was going out to that morning,
Anyway,
and I didn't know what else to do.
so you weren't thinking that far ahead?
No.
Okay.
Yesterday when you were talking, again, this is before we kind of got to this moment today, you mentioned that we were talking, you said, I don't know where they are, I don't know where they are, and then you said something along the lines of, whatever happened to them, this act of pure evil. What does that mean?
It's the evil that I saw when I walked behind Jeanette and she was on top of CC. And I felt evil for what I did to Jeanette.
So, guys, that was a part where he's talking about evil, and Coder's saying, you mentioned this yesterday. You said whoever did this, it was an act of pure evil. And what he says is it was the evil that I saw when I walked up behind Shanann and she was on top of Cece. And it's the evil that I saw in what I did to Shanann. And I just think that his mentioning of evil, and also in connection with, statements that he made during this line of questioning, and also after, saying that it was like something else was controlling him. It was like somebody had their arms around him and on his hands, and he just couldn't let go. I think when you put all of those things together, and I'm interested to know what you guys think, I think that there's something material there. But let's keep listening, and he's going to talk about what it is that, he claims NK knows about his relationship with Shanann. Hi, Karen G. So glad that you're here. Nice to see ya.
Okay. So, one other thing that doesn't make sense to me is, well, I don't know. Can you walk me through again? When you walked in, what did she look like? What did Shanann look like? All you saw was her back. Was it the same shirt that you buried her in? Same underwear? And then was she wearing pajamas?
Shanann?
Yeah.
No, that's what she sleeps in.
Oh, she sleeps in her underwear. Okay. And no pajamas, no shorts, nothing like that. So then when you grab her, just as is, that's how she gets to the truck, that's how she gets to the site. Okay.
So did Shanann ever go to bed?
Like when I put her back in the bed.
No, like when she got home. Did any of that happen where she got into bed and then you woke her up at 4? Like, is all of that true? Because it looks like there's some purchase of some hair care products at like 2:30 in the morning. You know about that?
Hair care products.
And for those of you who don't know, we fully debunked the purchase of the hair care product at 2:30 something in the morning. That was, Shanann was involved in a multitude of MLMs. I've talked about this at great length, and there's more material coming on that. But one of them that I believe Nicole Atkinson and some other people she knew were involved in was an MLM that sells hair products. A few of my friends in this area have tried to sell me this stuff before. It's called Monet, I'm not sure how you spell it. But that was a reoccurring monthly charge, to get her shipment, her auto shipment of Monet products each month.
And her credit card was denied? No. You said you don't really use the credit card, so.
My credit card, no.
Would you have bought hair care products at 2:30 in the morning that morning?
No.
Did she get mad at you because There's no money when she moved out? Like, was that part of the?
This is the first I've heard of that.
Okay.
As far as hair care products and the car agreement,
Okay. And I'm not lying about that, I'm just, that's why I'm asking. That is something that came up.
Is there any reason she would have a black eye, Shanann?
No.
Not from a slap or a punch or nothing like that? Never. Okay.
Punch or slap her.
Is there any reason she would have a stab mark on her body?
No.
Okay. And no other reason for death? Coroner's not gonna find rat poison in her stomach. The only way that she died, she was living, breathing, wasn't living, breathing after your hands on her neck.
So I just want to clear up. I see Lily and Priya just kind of going back and forth about, let's see, about the possibility. And I couldn't even remember if this was on AD's channels. Y'all know I like AD. So if I'm, going against something he said, hey, well, we have to do that with each other sometime. So you said, hi, Kelly, about Satya, NK's yoga studio or some kind of business. We're not exactly sure. Early on, I think it was AD who said maybe it was connected to Satya, a cult run by an ex-IT engineer in India. So that was what I was looking into through LinkedIn and some other government records of companies. And it, to me, doesn't look like there's any way that would fit. So I guess I would be interested in knowing what it is other than, the business having the same name that would cause somebody to make that connection. So when I had my yoga studio in Philadelphia, it was called Inner Bliss Yoga. So Inner Bliss actually is one of the principles of yoga. It's Anandamaya, like the inner bliss that you are always working towards through your yoga practice, whether it's the breathing, the pranayama, the physical practice, or the meditation. And, it's kind of this state of just, being one with your own intuitive self and kind of like universal energy. I know that sounds really fluffy, but that's just the quickest way. That's how I have to put it when I'm trying to say it this quickly. So I think that her Satya Consulting was just her own business, having to do with her spiritual interests, and what exactly that business was trying to provide. We don't know. And I'm not really sure if she knows, because, nowhere in that year that business was doing business as Satya Consulting as an LLC, is there any kind of detailed or robust description of the services offered? So, but let me get back to this interview.
What were you talking to Nikki about before your wife got home?
This is one.
We talked for like several hours.
We talk a lot, conversations, random conversations.
So I find this interesting, guys. So, Tammy Lee says, so what were you talking to Nikki about before your wife got home? And you can tell intuitively, there's a lot of things she's not asking about, but there's a lot of things she is asking about. Now, I personally think Tammy Lee was an excellent investigator. Anybody that I've spoken to who is in law enforcement or is in a career related to law enforcement has said basically the same thing, that they, give her an A+ for the job she did. And that, people might not think she was trying too hard because she was so skilled, she made it look easy. So Tammy Lee's, first instinct is something was up with that phone call. She asked him what it was about, and he gives the same BS answer that Nicole Kessinger gave, saying, oh, we just talked about a lot of things. It was a bunch of random stuff. Well, as I pointed out in the beginning of this live stream, that 111-minute phone call was a length unlike any other phone call they ever had during the course of their relationship. So there was something to it. The next three longest phone calls were 51, 52, and 54 minutes. That is like an hour shorter time than the 111-minute phone call. So they were on the phone for that length of time for a reason. There's no doubt about it.
We talk a lot.
Does Nikki know about any of this? Seriously.
No, she doesn't. No, like, I mean, she knows, like, from the news and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Did you share with her anything? Does she know your wife was pregnant?
She does now. And I told her that.
She didn't know at the time? How come you didn't tell her?
So I was scared too. Felt like, you know, like she wouldn't even like go on a date with me if she knew that. So it was... Did she know you were married with kids? Yes. Okay. But just not pregnant. Yes. I told her that, you know, like we had actively tried before we met. Oh, try to get pregnant. Okay. So she knew that.
Okay, so guys, this is important. So, he's asked, so she knows you were married with kids. Yes. So Chris Watts says, I told her that we actively tried to get pregnant before Kessinger and Chris Watts met. Yet Kessinger says when she met Watts, he discloses that they're in the process of getting divorced. Well, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. This is just another dynamic that catches her in one of her many, many lies.
You can imagine that when we go talk to people going forward, everyone's going to try to distance themselves from any of this. Yes. And so what's going to happen when Nikki says, no, it was our plan to kill everyone and run off together? She's not going to say that. Okay. We're going to talk to her. Absolutely.
We have to.
So can we get ahead of that for you? Can we get all of that out right now? I mean, so are you sure she's not going to say, oh, I kind of knew he was going to kill him? No. She's not going to say that? No. Okay. And she's not going to say, boy, we were making plans about buying a house or an apartment. She's going to say that? No, like, she really just, like, once I had my own place, like, we could, you know, like, hang out more. Okay. So after the separation, after that dust settled, then you would have availability to go see Nikki. You guys had talks like that? Yeah, I mean, like, she generally liked me. Okay. Please don't put her name out there because she's been through enough in her lifetime.
So why is it when he's facing murder charges here, he's so concerned about protecting her? He says, please don't put her name out there. When he asked Coder, are you going to have to talk to her? Talk to her, Kessinger. You can see like physically his like discontent with that.
Stuff like that, we never tried to put out. Wow, this is like the press. If they got kind of an affair, they would drag her through the mud. I don't want that. Yeah. We're certainly not going to try to make that happen.
It's not going to go on any of this.
I know there's press finds ways. That's everything.
So what do you think about everything now? You feel sorry for what you did?
Of course, I wouldn't have lost control and got on top of Shannon and did that. And then did that.
What? Took him out to the well site?
Yes. So after we look at their bodies, we're gonna have a lot more questions. Things are gonna be different then, but if you're willing, we'd love to talk to you then too.
Okay, so Martinez, are you the person who asked me about the mentioning of, the pure evil? Because this is what actually caused me to look into all this. I think that you were, and thank you very much for that. Whoops, I went too far back there. So hold it. I'm just gonna play it again. I'm finding just one more segment for you guys to listen to.
How are you gonna avoid that? Or is it you that does that?
Anybody that goes to the location.
How often is that done that those tanks are checked?
And if they're making enough oil or whatnot, once a week, maybe.
So do you want someone to find them?
I had no one else to do something. That was the location I was going out to that morning.
Anyway.
And that's, I didn't know what else to do.
So you weren't thinking that far ahead?
No.
Okay.
Whoops.
Yesterday when you were talking, and again, this is before we kind of got to this moment today, you mentioned that we were talking, you said, I don't know where they are, and then you said something along the lines of, whatever happened to them is act of pure evil. What does that mean? Is this the evil that I saw when I walked behind Shanann and she was on top of CC? And I felt evil for what I did to Shanann.
So there that is. Does anyone have any ideas about, thank you for that, Martinez. Act of evil and cruelty. Gathering Place, hello, by the way, and absolutely. Oh, and Gathering Place and Martinez, welcome. And let's see, who else? Okay. Does anyone have any questions? We're going to go back and listen to a little bit of what it is that Watts says to his father, Ronnie Watts, when he enters the interview room.
Hey, Christopher, you have
I want to tell you, this is also from Crime Vault. Thank you, Crime Vault. I listened to a bunch of different audios, and I found this one to be most audible.
however much time you need, okay? Sure. You can leave this in there? Yes. Sure. What's going on with anything, or? It's polygraph. Failed it. Yeah, because there's too much emotions. It's not me. They're not gonna let me go. Is there any reason why they shouldn't? Well, it's not paid. They know I had an affair. And they know. I can't complain about that. They let me have an affair. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you won't tell them what's going on, or what happened, or anything, or you know anything about when we had that conversation that morning, it was, it was emotional, it was, told her about separation and everything like that. Mm-hmm. What happened after that? I went downstairs and I want to protect her. What? I want to protect her. You don't want to protect her? I don't know what else to say. What happened? Huh? Well, no, that's not her. You're her. Did they leave after that for a long time? So she started her kids. Separate. Oh, okay, so one, she's smiling. Or choking. I didn't hear anything. When I was downstairs, I came back up and they were gone. I don't know, like we talked that. I'm talking to her about that. I'm talking to her about separation and everything, about things she lost. I don't know, like, what else to say, like, I freaked out. Those are my kids. So she, found that one time, we were leaving this to work, and she freaked out over the separation and everything. I think she laid back out, and that's going downstairs, but I heard like a little commotion upstairs, but I didn't think anything of it. And then we went back upstairs, and she was dead. I could see her.
Oops. So what I always wonder about with this portion of the interview is, some people point out, what they believe to be, Ronnie Watt's lack of reaction to the news that, Watts is disclosing. I'm wondering what you guys think about that. Pure evil. You only say that if you know that. Huh. What do you mean by that? That's interesting. And Mom says, just like at the sentencing, when Sandy says the evil people responsible. Yeah. Recently I posted the episode 3 from The Devil Beside Me that Dr. Phil had put out that discusses, his feeling that, NK was shaking in her boots. And he also says that, the Rusick family, believes that she had a hand in what was going to happen. And then at the last minute, she chickened out. I can't remember what the exact words are. You have to put captions on sometimes. Oops, sorry. You have to put captions on sometimes because when they say something, a lot of times it looks like they whisper or you can't really hear what they're saying. Yeah, you know what? I will put this up soon with captions on. You're totally right. Lily says, I think Ronnie Watts is in shock. I think so too. Utter Nutter points out that they're trying to not be heard. Yeah, I think that Chris is definitely trying not to be heard. At certain points, you can tell he's, saying to Ronnie, keep it down. He knew of the affair. Yes, Utter Nutter agrees. And I also believe that he must have known that too. Because at some point here, I'm not going to play any more of this because the audio is pretty hard to hear. Watt says to him, does Mom know? Well, does Mom know what? He apparently is just telling him what there is to know. Yeah, captions next time. You got it. Sometimes, guys, just so you know, when the audio is really poor, in order to put captions on the videos, the uploader, who's me, has to fill in a really large portion of it. And then you have to time it just right. Just so you know, it's really intensive work. So that's why I don't do it all the time. It's not because I don't want to, but sometimes it's just oh my gosh, you have to pick your battles. But I will definitely try to do that for you because it's really worthwhile, I think, with this portion of the interview between Chris Watts and his father, because it's an absolutely critical part of the story. Jennifer Bradford says they talked in the car from the airport for sure. You know, like, yeah, I mean, what else could have happened? Utter Nutter says, I think he told his family at the last visit with them that he was always on his phone with her. I think at some point that is said in his interview from Dodge Prison. I'm writing that down to perhaps take a look at that next time. Here, let's just give a try to listen to just a little more of this. Yeah, nope, that's not it. That's it.
Want to choke me or did she kill him? Hair blue. Both of them. Yeah. She choked both of them to death. I forgot the champagne.
So do you see that right there when Chris Watts really tells his dad like definitively what happened? He looks up at the camera. Let me just go back a little bit. Yeah.
One. She's smiling. Or choking. I didn't hear anything. When I was downstairs, they came back up and they were calling.
Looks up. Oh my God, he says.
I don't know, like me talking to her about that. I'm like talking to her about separation and everything, about things she lost. I don't know, like, what else to say, like, I freaked out. Those are my kids. Her sweet. It's not that one time. You really know this is gonna work. She freaked out over the separation of them. I don't think she laid back down, but that's someone downstairs, but I heard like a little commotion upstairs, but I didn't think anything of it. And we went back upstairs and she was never, I could see like she was not up. Want to choke my girl. Did she kill him? Hair blue. Both of them. Yeah. She choked both of them to death. I forgot the champagne.
And he looks up again at the camera. Yeah, so what I'm seeing there is just a grandfather in distress. What I'm seeing is that every time Chris Watts says something definitive that should be really gut-wrenching, shocking. Hi, Bumblebee, by the way. He looks up at that camera that he knows is there. So let's just finish up just listening to, I want to see what Martina says, since you were the inspiration for this live stream to begin with. Coder asked Chris about the black eye and a stab mark. He asked him if he slapped her. I never had heard about that, but I think if people captions on it picks up in the conversation. Yeah, I don't know how long you've been on here for, but we listened to that part. Actually, let's just go back and, did I navigate away from it? I can pull it up real quick. We can listen to that part again. That's really perceptive though. You know, that whole section of the interview, Martinez, that I put in my own documentary about this tragedy, I didn't pick up on everything at the time. So that was really awesome that you pointed that out. It's, you know, guys, there's just so much, like these interviews, the contents of them is just so dense, and it's also hard to hear. You know, I know that we listen to the same things time and time again, but, you know, as people are really committed to seeing that justice is fully served for these victims, and they come forth and talk about what it is they hear and they perceive and they understand to be true, or that they found out, it should be this way based on law enforcement or, like lawyers that they've talked to, like I have with my friend Alex. Is you put these things together, it's almost like as a community, we're building the case that law enforcement neglected to properly build for the sake of the victims. And I mean, look at the fallout. So, whoops, hold it. So Martinez, we're going to listen to that portion again here. And I know that some of you have been with me here listening to it once or twice. Hi, Christy42. But again, the more you listen, the more you pick up on. You guys know this.
So, one other thing that doesn't make sense to me is, well, I don't know. Can you walk me through again? When you walked in, what did she look like? Was it Chanel? Like all you saw was her back. Was it the same shirt that you buried her in? Same underwear? And then was she wearing pajamas? Chanel? Yeah, no, that's what she sleeps in. Oh, she sleeps in her underwear. Okay, and no pajamas, no shorts, nothing like that. So then, when you grab her, just as is, that's how she gets to the truck, that's how she gets to the site. Okay.
So did Shanann ever go to bed?
Like, well, I'll put her back in the bed.
No, like when she got home. Did any of that happen where she got into bed and then you woke her up at 4? Like, did all of that true? Because it looks like there's some purchase of some hair care products at like 2:30 in the morning. Do you know about that?
Hair care products?
And her credit card was denied?
Mm-hmm.
No. You said you don't really use the credit card, so
My credit card, no.
Would you have bought hair care products at 2:30 in the morning that morning?
No.
Did she get mad at you because there's no money when she woke up? Like, was that part of the?
This is the first I've heard of that.
Okay.
As far as hair care products and the card being denied.
Okay. And I'm not lying about that, that's why I'm asking. That is something that came up.
Is there any reason she would have a black eye, Shanann?
No.
Not from a slap or a punch or nothing like that? Never. Okay. Punch or slap her. Is there any reason she would have a stab mark on her body? No. Okay. And no other reason for death? Coroner's not going to find rat poison in her stomach. The only way that she died, she was living, breathing, and wasn't living, breathing after your hands on her neck. Okay.
What were you talking to Nikki about before your wife got home?
Before she got home?
You talked for like several hours.
I think the other day when we talked a lot, conversations, random conversations. We talk a lot.
Does Nikki know about any of this? Seriously.
Well, she doesn't know, like, I mean, she knows, like, from the news and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Did you show her anything? Does she know your wife was pregnant?
She doesn't know. And I told her that.
She didn't know at the time? How come you didn't tell her?
So I was scared too. So, like, you know, like, she wouldn't even, like, go on a date with me. And she knew that, so it's... Did she know you were married with kids? Yes. Okay. But just not pregnant.
See, did you know she was married with kids, just not pregnant? Yes. It's not like he's trying to protect her to this, like, crazy degree. If he believed that she really thought that she was always under the impression that he and Shanann were separating, surely he would have said that now, because you see several times him trying to detour the investigators from pulling Kessinger into this in any way, shape, or form.
I told her that, you know, like, we actively tried before we met. Oh, trying to get pregnant. Okay. So she knew that. You can imagine that when we go talk to people going forward, everyone's going to try to distance themselves from any of this. Yes. And so what's going to happen when Nikki says, no, it was our plan to kill everyone and run off together? She's not going to say that. Okay. We're going to talk to her. Absolutely.
We have to.
So can we get ahead of that for you? Can we get all of that out right now? I mean, so are you sure she's not going to say, oh, I kind of knew he was going to kill him? No. She's not going to say no. Okay. And she's not going to say, boy, we were making plans about buying a house or an apartment. She's going to say that? No, like, she's just, once I have my own place, like, we could, you know, like, hang out more. Okay. So after the separation, after that dust settled, then you have availability to go see Nikki. You guys had talks like that? Yeah, I mean, like, she generally liked me. Okay. Please don't put her name out there in the news, though. She's been through enough in her life, now. Stuff like that, we never try to put out. Well, this is like the press, if they got into an affair, they would drag her through the mud. I don't want that. Yeah. Which I'm not going to try to get out.
It's not going to go on any of this.
I know, but press finds ways. That's everything.
So what do you think about everything now? Do you feel sorry for what you did?
I wish I wouldn't have lost control and caught on the shenanigans and that. And then did that.
What? Took it out to the website?
Yes. So after we look at their bodies, we're gonna have a lot more questions. Things are gonna be different then, but if you're willing, we'd love to talk to you then too. You did really good today, Chris. Really good. I think you had about 24 hours of just a hellish nightmare thrust upon you, and you know, you certainly did what you did, but I think you took a lot of steps to make it better today. Sorry I left you last night, and sorry I left you today. Not okay.
I thought you were here for a reason.
Well, there's a reason why I came in, because there's a reason why I didn't know the lawyer either, so it's like, it's gonna happen, so.
I appreciate that. You know, eventually they were going to find them out there. So, I mean, it was kind of inevitable. And then you guys just been sitting at home waiting for that moment to happen. And then what? Then what does it look like?
It looks probably.
There's many people that say that you're an amazing guy and you would never do anything bad and has never lost your temper, and you know, all those people that say that about you, there's just as many that would say that about Shanann. So we're gonna struggle with that for a while. I'm struggling with it right now, I'll be honest.
I know you are.
I'm a mom.
Anybody would. How do we prove best that Shanann did it? Examine the body, I guess. That's the only thing. We're gonna see her hand marks. My hand marks are not bad.
But there are gonna be hand marks, like they weren't still there, do you think?
I don't, shouldn't, and some others no. And Bella, I don't know, but she was on top of her, and her head's inside.
And then we're gonna put one on top of
Her, I didn't see a camera off. Didn't see one on top of her.
Why were there sheets in the trash in the kitchen?
Because those are the same ones out there. I didn't know what to do. I know eventually it was going to figure out.
Okay, this is another part that I find to be interesting. So Tammy Lee asks, why are there sheets in the trash? And he says, well, it's the same one that's out there, referring to, you know, the sheets being out in the field. So there's a lot that's been said about those sheets in the trash, and they've been, you know, scrutinized and evaluated and analyzed by a number of different creators and a number of different people. And I just think, I don't know when, I don't know how. I mean, it's a little ambiguous as to when that might be. The timeline of when the sheets were put in the trash is not clear, but I believe that he himself put them in there. I mean, he is clearly not a criminal mastermind. The moves that he made when committing this crime were not smart. Let me just go back a couple seconds. Listen to that just one more time. Go back a minute or so. There we go.
And then we're gonna put one on top of her.
I didn't see a camera off. Didn't see one on top of her.
Why were there sheets in the trash in the kitchen?
Because those are the same ones out there. I didn't know what to do. I know eventually it was going to figure out find Shanann. I mean, because.
So is she still wrapped in the sheet and down in here?
Mm-hmm. It was just laying off to the side, or maybe the wind took it.
So it's right here now. It was just next to the side. Like you didn't even try and hide that?
I was so scared, I didn't know what to do. Did someone come up on you or something? No, I mean.
So I really think that, you know, what he's saying now and what we know about the sloppiness of, you know, everything, of the whole scene, in my opinion, and I'd love to know what you guys think, I believe that this speaks to his lack of premeditation of the crime in its entirety. Now, I do believe that on July 14th, and I've explained this in several videos and over several live streams, you can go back and watch them or ask me and I can go over it again, but most of you probably heard it. I do believe on July 14th, this is when he got in his mind, due to the psychological manipulation of his former mistress, that, you know, somehow his wife had to go. They were in this financial turmoil. I think that he was becoming very disenchanted with her in the recent past, and he was just so head over heels in love with Kessinger. When she told him that she wanted to have his first son, this really got into his head. I don't think that he planned the crime in its entirety, and by that, I'm referring to what happened to those beautiful little girls. Red Sky Black says, go back and listen to Cody Desbois Petroleum, the guy at the fake Rockies game. Why did Chris say that? Explain that a little more. Let's see. Jamie Smith says he's mixing truth with lies, hoping the detectives will catch it and question him about it. In my opinion, I think he wants the truth to come out, but he has to be careful what he says. You may very well be right about that, and he does do a nearly artful mix of truth with lies, and to, you know, what the end is, I believe, is what's in question. Let's see. Mama says, says, each time I listen to CW speak, it becomes more apparent that he did not act alone. Listen to how he speaks. I totally agree. Anaphylaxis, my friend. Hello. I love it when you're here. Anaphylaxis is former law enforcement. I've been referring to the opinion of my peeps in law enforcement that I've consulted with, including you, have said about various things. And I'm really glad you're here. Hi, Molson Man. Welcome to you as well. I'm very happy you guys are here. So we were just listening to this portion of this interview that, I'm referring to as the forgotten portion of this interview where they're talking about something having to do with evil. They're talking about what Chris Watts claims his former mistress knew about his relationship with his wife when this happened. And, a whole other host of things that myself and people in chat are finding to be rather interesting. Does anyone have any questions, or does anyone want to hear any portion of this again? I'm going to keep playing this a little bit for now. Let me know if any of those things apply to you.
Are you afraid they were going to start showing up?
I know they're on their way out there, but I mean.
Oh, I know. We have to go back over that timeline.
Before I forget, I know that they collected a lot of electronics at your house, like routers and that kind of stuff. That's not going to show that she was using her phone, at a time that you said she was strangling the kids or something, right? Okay. What is the password to, all the electronics in your house? I know there was an iPad.
iPad should be 2385.
I'll be right back with you. I'm just pulling up something from Discovery here.
There's not one for the Apple Watches, is there?
Should be 2385.
Is that for yours too?
3387.
I'm sorry, what was yours?
3387.
3387. And what other stuff do you have? Is there a router? Is there a password for that stuff?
Shiny Chair 6. Same with the router.
And spell it for me.
SHINYCHAIR 6. Number 6.
Okay. Shiny Chair 6. Okay. And then what else what's in there? Is there a desktop computer?
Yeah, that one, if it has a password, it'd be 428 4915 capital S lowercase w.
Okay. And what about, is there anything else in the house as far as electronics go, tablets?
Well, the iPad's the only real set. The other ones are the kids' stuff, but they're just Amazon fires and whatnot.
Okay. And you're
okay, my friend. So here she's just asking about passwords to the routers and some other things. So remember, Tammy Lee asked Chris Watts, so how long did it take you to dig this? Right. And he says 20 to 30 minutes. So again, I was saying that this is a question that's been asked time and time again, but according to what he's reporting, and I believe this to be true, just the way the conversation went down, and I'm sure the attention he was paying to time when he arrived to Survey 319, knowing that his coworkers were going to be showing up soon, and the amount of texts that he was sending to them to check in on their whereabouts. Let's take a look at this timeline given to law enforcement by his supervisor. Just let me get that off the screen. There we go. All right, here we go. So there we go. Okay. So we see here highlighted on the morning of August 13th, he started his car at 5:18. He left Saratoga Trail at 5:46 a.m. He arrived at Survey 319 at 6:53 a.m. Okay. So he arrives there at 6:53 a.m. So he said it took him 20 to 30 minutes to dig. So let's go with the long shot there and say that's 30 minutes. That takes him to 7:23. So now 7:23, and if his story is correct, or at least as part of it is correct, he still needs to take his beautiful babies, up to where he did. So let's hop over to the discovery now. Keep that time, 7:23, in your mind. Okay, so we have at 6:29 to 6:30, Watts made 3 unanswered calls to Roberts. So in the span of a minute, he's making 3 phone calls to the person that he knows is going to be, showing up there. Now, remember, he arrived at Survey 319 at 6:53. At 6:31, he sends a text to Roberts because he didn't answer any of those 3 phone calls. Where are you at? And so Roberts responds to him at 6:32. He's, somewhere. And then I don't know why he made another unanswered call to Roberts. And then Watts responded with 2 messages to Roberts saying, okay, I'm in Survey. Where are you going first? And Roberts responds immediately. This is Cody Roberts, DPC State. And Watts replied with a thumbs up emoji. I'm sure he was quite relieved he wasn't on his way there. So at 6:35, Watts says, okay, let me know before I leave here. So let's get down. So he's sending a whole bunch of messages to his coworkers. Okay, so let's get to around 6:53, the time that he arrives. So now we're at 6:59. Robert sends a message to Watts saying, I guess I'm headed out that way to start up the 1029, and Chad will be meeting me out there. Watts replies, okay. So, they're not going to 319 first. Now this is 7:18. So remember, guys, we said if we go with Chris Watts' long estimate of 20 to 30 minutes, if it took him 30 minutes to dig, that would take us up to 7:23. So this time of 7:18, which is about 25 minutes, Watts took a photograph of his laptop screen, presumably sitting in his truck, and the metadata confirms Watts was at the Survey coordinates. Those who doubt that he was there, come on, people. The image is apparently only in a thumbnail format, and enlarging it blurs out the writing on the laptop screen. I know. A friend of mine who's actually trying to fix my Mac was over here. This was a couple weeks ago. I meant to mention this sooner, and he's an IT guy. And I was working on a video. I was working on some material for a live stream. And I asked him about this statement saying that the image only appears in a thumbnail. He read it again and again and again with like kind of an eyebrow raise. And he did not understand how that could be or what the heck that meant. That just, confirmed to me what I already suspected. And many of you already suspected that that's like total BS. Okay. So at 7:40, Watch sent that sage message to Shanann's phone. If you take the kid somewhere, please let me know where you're at. So, okay, let's assume that, at 7:18, he came back from doing the dig. So 7:18 a.m. to 7:40 a.m. gives us what, 22 minutes? So assuming that this portion of his statement is true, that would be 22 minutes of him, doing what he claims happened with the girls, which God rest their souls. I hate even mentioning it. Please, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but this needs to be figured out, okay? So at 7:40 a.m., now he's back to his phone, which I believe was in his car. And the reason is experts have testified that you cannot take, just the flashlight from a cell phone shining in through that thief hatch into the oil would be enough kinetic energy to create some kind of like a spark or ignition or an explosion. So I believe, and I've proved this through other live streams and videos, that he left his phone in his car. So I believe with Watts telling Tammy Lee that the dig took 20 to 30 minutes, this timeline, guys, I think works out. It's 7:41. Roberts told Watts, I'm here at the 1029 now. Do you mind coming out here just in case something goes sideways? And Watts tells Roberts, yeah, I'm at 319, 1 sec. And then he takes this picture. So at 7:43, he calls Luke Epple. And so all of these communications, guys, that he's making outgoing after the hour of 7:40 say to me that, whatever he had to do was done. Now he's back in his truck, united with his phone or his phones, and he's making these communications. Hi, DTC. How are you, sweetheart? Welcome, my friend. So, does anyone have any questions about that? I really, really believe with, his statement of the digging taking 20 to 30 minutes, and then looking at the official timeline here in Discovery and the record of his communications when he was probing, when his coworkers were going to be out there before 7 a.m., and then a lack of outgoing messages until 7:40 a.m. I believe, that time period, based on what he says, fits, his claim of, digging into the earth for Shanann, and then, what he claimed was done with his beautiful little girls. So does anyone have any questions, or would anyone like to come up here and say anything or ask any questions? Let's see. Priya says, I think the phone was left in the truck as he took the girls up to the tanks. Sorry, that sounds horrible. Those poor sweet angels. I agree with you, Priya. I agree with you. Just based on the experts in this industry that have spoken on other channels, and also just research I've done through reading, and even in the Discovery, they say they had to use some kind of like a special light to shine into the tank through the thief hatch, because using the flashlight on a typical cell phone would be a hazard that could cause an explosion. Jamie says, not only that, but the opening of the oil tanks alone takes time. And if someone does it not knowing the repercussions, or if they would get sick, Jim and NK was both sick. You know what? That's very true. And geez, didn't we hear about it from NK? Hi, Mary Chapman. Welcome. Hi, Katerina. Welcome. Marie Chapman says, has anyone ever wondered why he kept the girls so quiet while he phoned the school to unenroll them? That was extremely risky. They could have cried out. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Does anyone have any thoughts about that? Utter Nutter. Oh, personal message to DTC. Not only the girls, but Dieter too. Well, I don't think Dieter was in the car at that point. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. I'm just a little lagging here on chat. So please let me know if anyone has any questions, or if anyone would like to come up and share your view on things. Priya says, the other opinions and theories that opposes this is that his phone still showed motion. I am puzzled about that. It's not terribly puzzling. Your daughter drew that. That's so sweet. Let's see. Let me see if I can find something from a previous presentation for you, okay? So while I'm doing that, there were a lot of questions about what I'd gone over in this 111-minute call, 6:16 a.m. ping timeline. I know I showed this earlier, but for those of you that just joined, we see the 111-minute phone call starts at 9:28 p.m. It ends at 11:19 p.m. This is shown on Nicole Kessinger's phone record. The next activity on her phone record is the 6:16 a.m. ping, which I have shown you, really proves that she was 100% in the area, and it was most likely not on her way to work. Does anyone want to see that again? That is really, I think, a critical part of this whole puzzle. Red Sky Black says, at Marie Chapman, I've covered that 2 years ago. No way did he make all those calls without risking the girls maybe making a noise. I mean, that is quite a risk. Oh, yeah, I know. Okay. Oh, and then here we have circled on neighbor Nate's security camera footage, the headlights coming towards Chris Watts' house. And guys, I checked this time, okay? It's 11:25 p.m. So that is, shortly right after he got off that 111-minute phone call with Kessinger, for which neither of them remember the details, that is also conspicuously missing from Discovery. Let's see. I know what I'm looking for. Okay. I'm going the wrong way. Okay, so here we have Saratoga Trail. Then we have where the Frederick Tower was. These two locations are very close. Now, guys, I want you to know that I was able to get the record and maps of the towers at the time of this tragedy in August 13th, 2018. And the towers that I have depicted on my visuals are towers that service Verizon, which was a carrier Kessinger was using. Let's see. So Saratoga Trail and the Frederick Tower are 0.89 miles apart, less than a mile. Okay, so let's see if I can give you a fuller picture here. I'm not sure if I have that on this presentation or not. I do. Okay, so down here where the little red marker is, that's Kessinger's residence. So her route to work up in Platteville is as shown. Over to the right, up to Platteville, takes a total of 33 minutes. You'll see right about in the middle of that map, you'll see Frederick, okay? Now what we're doing, guys, is we're zooming in to this full route, 33-minute route map, okay? All right, so here it is. So you see next to this highway here, I have all these pictures of super cool Kessinger at the sand dunes. So that's just indicating that's her route going, from the bottom of the screen upwards. Now you see over to the right, there's 1, 2, 3 towers with the pink arrows pointed towards them. Each of these 3 towers service Verizon, and they have bandwidths that are strong enough for sure to be favorable to pick up a signal of somebody traveling on this highway. The bandwidth probably is such for the highway traffic. Now you see the red arrow, the large red arrow here, points to the tower that she pinged off of, okay? So just imagine Kessinger traveling along this highway that's highlighted in green right next to her picture. Just look at the distance of a car traveling on that highway, the distance from that car to the Frederick Tower or that car to any one of the towers to the right. The distance of the towers on the right is a lot less with a strong enough bandwidth than the distance of somebody traveling on that highway to the Frederick Tower. So what this tells me, really beyond a shadow of a doubt, is that she was right in the vicinity of 2825 Saratoga Trail. Hi, Sahana. Welcome. Nice to see you here. Let's see. Aw. Jane Doe says, this is interesting. Oops. I picked the wrong. Well, what did oh, wait. Yeah, I already read that, darling. I'm going back up a little here, but where's that one I just saw? Okay. NK made phone inquiry regarding whether industrial garbage gets picked up. I could be wrong. It was so long ago. Does anyone know about that? I don't think I had heard that. Oh, Karen G is saying yes about that. I'm definitely interested in knowing more about that. I think that I totally missed that, which doesn't mean it didn't happen. There's so much to catch here. Priya says, the night before on the 12th, he tells Shanann he gave the girls shakes to drink. I wonder if the shakes were laced with something to help the girls sleep. Ah, that's interesting. Yeah. And DTC to that says, good call out, Priya. The girls were on medication for allergies. I bet that made the kids sleepy. Yeah, I mean, we see the picture of little Celeste, chanting with her daddy, and he's holding the medication in his hand. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It's another one I can pull up quick. Let's see here. Which one do I have that in? Dun, dun, dun. Give me just a moment here. Right here. Whoops. Let me make sure it's the right one. Well, here, I'll show you what it is I'm looking at anyway. Hold it. Oops. Okay. Okay. I think this has this in here. I don't think I can make this much bigger. This is just from you. So cute. Okay, this one right here.
Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Ooh, ooh. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Ooh, ooh.
Oh, you can't see his hand.
Say cheese. Aw, say here we go, Steelers.
There you go. So he's got the medicine right in his hand there. The 2 bottles. See? You. Okay. And so, Shanann also tells us several different times in several different ways that, the girls did take Benadryl and Tylenol each evening. Karen G makes a good point saying, I think the MLM of Thrive had a lot to do with the magical thinking that may have been going on. You can't just make things happen always. That's right. I recently have done several different videos on the MLM dynamic, and there's more to come in production. Oh, so Jennifer Bradford, it's Tylenol and Benadryl. Yeah. So Marie Chapman, the girls were taking Tylenol and Benadryl every single night. Yes. And Shanann had said that several times. So, yeah. Hello, Pamela. How are you, my darling? We're going to be wrapping up pretty soon because we've been on here for, oh my God, like 2 hours. But, oops. Oh, here, I've got a series of pop-ups. Sorry about the beeps, the dings, whatever the sound is. Ding. They just keep coming. Got about 5 more, guys. Okay. Whoops. Okay. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my God. There we go. Jeez, creepers. So, okay, guys. So it's been about 2 hours. So I think for tonight, I'm going to wrap up. And thank you so much, guys. Thank you, chat, for being respectful. Thank you so much, moderators. You guys are absolutely amazing. Utter Nutter, you are a superstar. Thank you so much for being here the whole time. And I hope your coffee did well for you. So we'll have another live stream later on this week. And if anyone has any questions, just go ahead and, you can leave them in the comments or send me an email at wattsobsession@gmail.com. Let's see. Priya says, CW also said Cece was wandering around the morning of the 13th, like she was brain damaged after the first attempt. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, so sad. I know. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much. Love to you all. Everyone who isn't feeling well, please get better. Everyone be safe. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it. And thank you for contributing to the channel. You guys are awesome. Take care. Oh, and Karen G, first time in the live stream. I just saw that. Welcome. I'm glad you